Well, boys, we were all waiting to see if Ibuki was going to be broken when she dropped, and yeah, this summer Ibuki, Berserker Ibuki, whatever you want to call her, absolutely delivers. I almost feel like Lasengo just said, yeah, all the other arts AoE servants in the game, yeah, they're irrelevant now because of Ibuki. This is like some of the most insane power crept I've seen in the game in a long time. Because this chick is just absolutely nuts. I don't know what they were thinking. It's almost like they were just like, we take a little bit of Berserker Musashi, a little bit of Summer Kama, smash them together, and oh, look at that. That's not too broken, is it? And it's like, no, that's absolutely broken. But you guys won't believe me until we actually talk about the servant. However, before we begin, if you have not already, make sure you leave a like on the video and you subscribe to the channel, as it helps me out more than you know. And if you want to see me play FGO live, do these summons live, you would have seen me pull Ibuki Doji. Well, technically that was in my Discord, but I stream every weekday over on my Twitch, and that is linked down in the description down below as well. With all that being said, let's dive right into this, starting off with her hits. And her hits are very deceptive. You might look at her hits and be like, oh, this servant's not going to be anything super broken, is she? She's only got 0.38% NP recharge. How good could she possibly be? Well, while she might look a little deceptively good here, you know, she's only got 4.9% star gen with a 3-hit quick card, only one, by the way. Again, as we just mentioned, 0.38% NP charge per attack with only 2 arts cards with 3 hits on them. And sure, she's got the 5-hit extra attack that we all know and love, because who doesn't know that it's a composite card that gen stars NP and does big boy damage? But with only 4.9% star gen and 0.38% NP charge, is it really going to be popping off that insanely? Probably not. And I mean, she doesn't have like passive arts or quick buffs or anything, so you know, you look at her hits and you're like, man, this servant's not really going to be popping off all that much. But let me tell you, listen to me. We're going to get into the skills and the NP for this servant, and things are about to go from 0 to 1,000,000 in like 2.5 seconds. It is absolutely insane. Let's start off a little modest with the first skill. This is kind of like Ibuki's charisma skill. She's going to give the party 20% attack for 3 turns, 30% crit damage for 3 turns, and if you're a summer mode servant, you get 30% NP gain for 3 turns on a 6-turn cooldown. Sounds kind of standard, you know, 20% attack, 30% crit damage isn't too bad, and the summer mode servants are basically every one of the servants that have a summer version or have a summer costume. So this is going to be an effect that is very long lasting. For one, this actually buffs Lady Avalon, because Lady Avalon, despite what her first ascension might show you, is actually a summer servant because, well, just look at her second ascension. So A, that means one of the supports you're going to be using with her is getting this very nice NP gain buff, but if you're using her with anybody else, just other art servants, maybe you have a single target for a boss fight or something, they're getting a very nice attack buff and a very solid crit buff. And keep in mind, Ibuki's getting those for herself as well. As an introductory skill, as her skill 1, this is already insanely strong. It's giving her very solid offense, while also giving herself better NP gain abilities, but also buffing maybe any supports that might be around her. And keep in mind, again, this is only going to get better. This trait is only going to age, because as we know, we're just going to keep getting new summer servants. So if they ever give Castoria like a summer outfit or something, or we just get summer Castoria, she's going to be on this category as well. Or maybe Tamamo finally gets a summer outfit, even though she technically has a summer version. A man can dream, right? Okay, we love Tamamo around here. I can dream, and if she does get that, she would be on this tag as well. And this is just the first skill. We move over to the second skill, and things start to get a little bit interesting, because she gives herself a 30% arts and buster buff on a 6-turn cooldown for 3 turns, and then also reduces their skill cooldown by 1. Now, keep in mind, most of the time, unless your Ibuki is about to like die in a challenge quest, you're going to be using this on her anyway. So what that means is that she can more quickly get to her skills, because she innately has skill reduction, and that arts and buster buff are very killer. Keep in mind, she's on her own summer power mode change category thing, right? So that NP gain buff plus the arts buff is actually like double buffing the NP gain that she has, because the arts buff is increasing the NP gain of her arts cards, and the NP gain is, well, increasing her NP gain. So between these two skills, we have a lot. Spammability from skills, in that both of these skills that are on 6-turn cooldowns are really on 5 turns. She's giving herself decent damage because she's already double buffing herself with the arts buff and the attack buff, and she's giving herself a little bit of crit damage, but is also like just helping out the party as well with the NP gain, just all this good stuff. And I want to also just drag your attention down to some of her passives, because her buster buff is actually more like a 42% buster buff, because she still carries a very strong Dragonkind EX passive skill that gives her a passive 12% buster performance buff. So if you're critting on those buster cards, it's going to be like 44%. I know I said 42 earlier, but she also has madness enhancement, so it's an extra 2%. So technically 44%. We're getting really close to a mana burst, basically, is what I'm getting at. She is absolutely nutty with these two skills. And the third skill is kind of what like seals the deal here, because again, on a 6-turn cooldown, but with that second skill, these are all 5-turn cooldowns. This comes with a 50% battery, 10 stars every turn for 3 turns, and 5,000% star weight. As a Berserker, I can't stress how important that is, because her natural star absorption is literally 9. And if you're like 9, maybe that's good. Maybe it's a 9 out of 10. Dude, sabers are usually at like 100 or something. She is way below the curve, so getting a 5,000% buff means that Ibuki is going to greatly increase her chances of being able to do crits, and we just talked about her having a passive 44% buster buff as long as the second skill is up, plus the 30% crit damage buff. If she's doing buster crits, she's doing damage. If she's doing arts crits, she's refunding a lot of NP. But if you're even struggling to gen NP, 50% battery, by the way. So this servant is just nutty on all accounts. The only thing she doesn't have is survivability. But guess what? She's an art servant, so that means she pairs with Castoria. And Castoria not only has a targetable invincibility on her third skill, but like the best defensive property on her own NP with Solemn Defense. And if you're running things like Lady Avalon plus Castoria, you not only get the AoE defense from Lady Avalon, but you also get just a ton of max HP as well. So Ibuki doesn't really need any defensive skills. While it would be nice, and you could technically say it's a detriment, it really doesn't matter, because the servants that she's going to be around are going to provide all of that defense for her. But we go to the NP, and this is just like not even the icing on the cake, but the glob of icing on the cake. Like, they just drenched the cake in icing. As you can see, she removes all enemies' defensive buffs before she attacks. So doesn't matter if you stack defense, solemn defense, arts resistance, buster resistance to try to get around her buster crits, dodge, invincibility, doesn't matter. Ibuki is smacking you in the face. The only way you're not going to get smacked to the face by Ibuki is if you have some unremovable like dodge buff or something, which some bosses have. So those guys, unfortunately, Ibuki's not going to be as great against. But against like the 95% of all other enemies in the game, she's going to curse smack them in the face. She reduces their critical attack chance by 20% for 3 turns. That's technically survivability, I suppose, because that's less of a chance of you getting smacked in the face by like a 10k crit. But the main thing here is that she gives herself a special damage mod against earth attributes. And I just went on a tangent in an earlier video about how good it is to have a special damage mod against earth attribute, because there's so many people in earth attribute, whether they be servants or enemies, right? I mean, her being a berserker means she can hit all of these dudes. Anyone from Artoria to Merlin to Arjuna Altar to BB to Percival to Melusine, they're all within her grasp to smack for big boy damage. And then, I mean, if you want to talk about common enemies, dragons, wyverns, skeleton, dragon tooth warrior guys, the Ifrit enemies, giants, sphinxes, all of these common enemies are all earth. Meaning, not only is Ibuki already doing pretty good damage, as that should be shown somewhere around like on screen right now, she's like barely under 100 less damage than Musashi, but most of the time, she's gonna be getting even more damage because of the Earth attribute special damage mod. This chick is absolutely broken. There's no other way for me to say this. And I was personally holding my Saint Quartz for Summer Scotty because I really like Scotty a lot, and it was going to be really hard for me to not summon for Ibuki. But as soon as I got the details, your boy hopped in VC, did some summons with the guys over in the Discord, which is linked down in the description down below as well, and got this lady for his multi. And I am absolutely happy that I did that, because not only do I love Ibuki and I'm going to grail her to level 100, but even if I didn't like Ibuki, this chick is nuts. Again, you literally couldn't ask for like a better arts AoE servant. The special damage mod is on point. She's got ways to buff up her NP gain if you have a problem with her natural NP gain being so low. Her damage is fine. It's right there with Berserker Musashi. For more challenging, difficult content, she has ways to not only provide stars for herself, but also capitalize on those stars with a crit damage buff. She just literally has everything, and the only thing she's lacking is defensive buffs. But again, Castoria and Lady Avalon are not only really good art supports, but they're also really good defensive supports. There's a reason why Merlin, Morgan, and Castoria is a very good defensive stall team, because Castoria provides a lot of defense, even to someone that's not an art servant, right? There's a lot of value in using her with even someone like Morgan, who's a buster servant. So this isn't even like a, oh, should you summon for this servant? It's like, no, you should probably most definitely summon for this servant. With how Summer 7 is, if you're an NA player, dude, this is insane. They give you a premium art support servant in Banner 1, and then they give you a premium arts AoE servant in Banner 2. You can literally clear pretty much most content in the game with Lady Avalon plus Ibuki. Like, that's all you really need. You're already doing most of what you need. Bring a friend Castoria and a starting charge 50% CE, and you'll be absolutely fine. Summer 7 is absolutely nuts. Lasengel is kicking it into overdrive. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, because I'm just absolutely flooring it, right? You know, I'm quite famous, I think, for, you know, in the community for people being like, oh, he jumps the gun on some servants sometimes, but I'm completely positive in saying that this is an absolutely busted must-summon servant. You can still hold out to the 17th, a couple more days, until Scotty drops to see Scotty's kit, and I'm sure Scotty's going to be absolutely broken as well, but if you summon for Ibuki, you're not going to be disappointed. This is a very powerful servant that you're going to add to your Chaldea. But again, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Drop a like and subscribe on the video if you enjoy daily FGO content, and I gotta go level up my Ibuki, so I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace, late guys.